Hello everybody, welcome to Young People in Society. My name is Simon Daly and I'll be your educator on the course. In this course we will be looking at some circumstances for young people in Australia, growing up in modern Australia, and trying to consider some of the key issues that young people confront in a modern society. My background, I should explain, is quite varied, and I've worked as an educator and as a case manager working with young people in the community welfare sector. So my field experience is quite varied, and I think brings a lot of experience to bear to be able to help you as you develop some knowledge around this course. Also, the focus of this is really sociological investigation of circumstances for young people in modern society. The aim of this video is to enable you to access the learning materials and to give you a bit of a background on what this course will focus on, to look at some of the subject matter and to consider not only how you access the course but also how you can achieve and what the assessments will be about, and where to find these learning resources and information about assessments, etc. In this platform. So this is a quick look at our site here, and this is our landing page. We call this the landing page. Here we've got a number of menus. So on the sidebar here we've got a navigation menu, and in this front and center here, here's some key communication forums that we can look at. We'll look at these a little bit later. If we look at the subject matter, we've got a number of titles that each week will follow the topics for this course. So the first one is a bit of an overview of sociology, and the focus is on sociology in young people. So looking at what is sociology, how can you understand what sociology is, and how does this help you as a youth worker coming into the sector. Week 2 is all about poverty and understanding issues around lack of income. There's quite a significant underclass in Australia. There's a lot of people living below the poverty line. Figures are massaged, so it's quite difficult to gauge what those figures are, but there's a problem for young people growing up in society when they've got limited access to financial resources, and their families too, which come with a whole heap of other problems. Week 3 is all about how young people perform in education, the different circumstances for young people in education, looking at how various genders are faring in the education system, and whether that is actually skilling up our young people for a modern life. It's quite an interesting topic. Week 4 is understanding Australian Torres Strait Islander cultures, and part of the assessments on this course will focus on Australian Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander cultures, and making sure that you have at least a basic understanding of those cultures so that you can show respect when you're working and when you come across those cultures in your working life. There's a second part is how Aboriginal Torres Strait Islanders are interacting with organisations in Australia. Week 6 will be looking at culturally and linguistically diverse circumstances for young people, and we'll show you some stats on that. It's quite an interesting topic about the cultural situation that exists in Australia because it's a multicultural society. Week 7 we've got a break, so you'll be able to take a breather. And week 8 we will be looking at gender, issues for male and female, and maybe a third gender as well. Is there a third gender? Do you recognise the third gender? And how well is that respected in society? Week 9 we'll be looking at juvenile justice, so young people experiencing crime, and the family courts as well, in terms of where children go and are experiencing circumstances for being dealt with when they're showing deviant aberrant behaviours. Week 10 is all about radicalisation, and whilst you might assume that that focuses solely on a Muslim angle, that's not the case. We're looking at radicalisation here around any sort of extreme belief systems that are being held. So There's lots of different types of radicals, and they're not necessarily focused on religion either. So there's a lot about gangs in that, which is a very interesting way to look at gang culture. So that's quite an important understanding of what's going on. Week 11 is actually going to be focused entirely on presentations. So the learning content is focused on helping you to deliver your presentations, which will be due at the end of week 11. So part of the assessments, which we'll look at in a minute, will be about you providing some research and a presentation. It'll be very important for you to pass this course. Week 12 is looking at the issue of young people and drugs, which is a big problem in modern society. How are various governments dealing with that? What looks successful, what doesn't, and what's Australia's position in that situation? And finally, week 13, which is the 12th week of our learning content, will be all about helping you as a worker understand how you can bring about change and working within the system to be a positive influence on creating change. Now, in terms of achieving in the assessments, let's have a look at where the assessment information is. A lot of information can be found down here, so we're going to look into the subject information. We're going to open that up here. And here's a list of our assessments that will be due in weeks 2, 4 and 6. There's quite a lot of small assessments on this course, so you'll need to pay attention to make sure you're getting these in on time. So there's case study analysis. You'll be asked to watch some videos, and there's links to access videos that are actually in the learning content. We'll look at that in a minute. And then you go and complete the assignments. The assessment format, the pro formas for you, can be downloaded as well. You can download these templates for assessments here. Let's open that up and show you what they look like. So these are very easy, just 1, 2, 3, download, save them, and you'll be able to upload those up into the right portal for submitting your assessments. In terms of so we've got a case study analysis, 3 videos which you review and focus on, and then in week 4 there's a short answer questionnaire on Aboriginal culture, Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander cultures. There's more videos to watch. There's a lot of videos on this course because sociology is a lot about observation. So there's a little bit of interaction, but a lot of observation is going to go on, and that's really going to be part of assessment 2, the major project presentation in week 11. And I recommend that you start this assessment process very early on, because if you leave it too late, you're not necessarily going to get a good grade here, because and you might be asked to redo it. One of the things is you need to find a group of young people, and these definitions are, have a look in week 11. All of this is explained in the learning content of week 11. These definitions you need to get a handle on, get your head around what's going on. Find out about a group of young people, and then use a series of criteria to evaluate and then present to your colleagues. And within the assessment, you need to present this information in a format that we can review and provide you with a grade for, showing that you have understood what it takes to research a group of young people and understand some of the key motivators and drivers for that group. Finally, there's a report, and then there'll be a workplace observation which comes from your placement. If you've got any problems around that, you can talk to the course coordinator, and they will help you to understand how you can achieve, especially if you're having problems with your placement. If you're not on a placement, for example, then you'll need to be dealing with the course coordinator. I'll be happy to talk to you about it, but there's not a lot I'll be able to give you. So in terms of talking to me, let's talk about that. There's a section here for announcements. This is where I will post announcements on what's going on. So I won't post emails every week because that'll bore you, and you'll just think that I'm nagging you, which we don't want to do. We're here to support you, but we will occasionally be posting some announcements about what's happening in the week, especially where there are things like assessments coming up. And as we've seen, there's quite a lot of assessments on this course, so there'll be a few posts around that. If there's any changes to schedules, then we'll certainly be posting that, and any other key information that you might need will come up in assessments. There's a general discussion forum where you can ask about some content, learning content, which is separate to the assessment discussion forum, which we're going to open up and have a look at here because this is already pre-programmed for you. The assessment discussion forum has already got threads for assessments 1A and 1B, assessment 2 and assessment 3B, and there's already a link in there to help you with the presentations, for example. So if you've got any questions or you want to respond, if you know an answer and somebody says, hey, how do we do that? And you go, well, I did that. That's great. This is a shared learning experience, and this is something we want to encourage as much as possible. Whilst I'll be the only person posting in the announcements, in the discussion forum and the assessment forum, feel free to chip in. And if there's anything you don't understand, if there's anything you want to know about, please ask me. The discussion forum is generally about other stuff that you might want to know about. If you have any interaction with your peers, other students on the course, feel free to jump in there and ask a question or post a notice or something like this. Now, we've got, as we've shown you, some templates for assessments. The final part of the communication is the online Zoom tutorial sessions, which I would encourage you attend because we will have some great discussions there. This will enliven the topic. It's a great topic. It's a really interesting course. Some people might find, because it's not necessarily a straightforward question and answer, there's a lot of interpretation that is open. This is where really the big bonus comes for you as students if you interact on this course. So come to the Zoom sessions and we'll talk about some interesting topics that are relevant for the week's learning. And we're hoping that you as students will contribute and build other people's knowledge, because this is not going to be my voice telling you how it is. This is all about our own experiences. It's a very important part of the course. So the Zoom attendance, there's an online Zoom classroom here. We're going to show you how to access that. It's very easy. You just turn up and it'll say join the meeting here, and I'll have the meeting ready at a specific time, and you just join the class and it'll just open itself up normally. This is just going to come straight to me. I will join as the host and you'll just jump into our classroom. There will also be recordings of previous Zoom sessions available for you to review if you're not able to attend. They'll be down here. And I recommend that you take advantage of those recordings and discussions. In terms of attending the Zoom sessions and scheduling a time, one thing I'm going to do is send an email out to you in the first week to enable you to make a choice about a suitable time for you to attend. So we'll be aiming for an evening in the weekday and an afternoon at the weekend, probably Sunday afternoon. So you can choose to attend one session. You only need to attend one at one time a week, whichever is most suitable for you. So usually it'll be about Sunday afternoon around 3 or 4 o'clock, and in the evening around 8 o'clock for people to be able to get home from work and jump in. And maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday evening around 7 or 8 o'clock. So we'll aim to put a doodle poll out so that you can select the most appropriate time. Whatever time people vote for is the most popular, we'll select that time and get a Zoom session going every week. That might be subject to change, but generally not. You can generally bank on it. So the doodle poll will come up through the discussion forum as we looked at before. Let me take you back and show you where this is the sort of thing will come up in a discussion forum here, and you'll get an email pop up about that. So by all means, attend the doodle forum, or attend the doodle poll, and make a choice so you'll be able to pick a time that suits you best. Great, looking forward to working with you on the course.